Moncha de Waribo. Yeah, Quebio. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa. Yeah, Moncha de Waribo. Yeah, Quebio. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa. Yeah, Quebio. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa. Yeah, Quebio. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa. Yeah, Quebio. Yeah, Moncha de Wariawa.
What was that?
That was a foghorn or something.
That was a
There we
who
go.
horn?
A foghorn.
Oh, not a leghorn, cleghorn, foghorn. Was
Some
it?
sort of foghorn. There we go.
Oh, all right. Anyway, hello, good evening, everyone. This is Ancestral Eyes with Jean-Jerome and Teresa. We have no guest. We have each other. And we are doing a year-end recap. So we're just going to sit here and talk and stuff like that. Take any questions that you may have. And suggestions for next year. Any topics that you would like us to cover, any guest suggestions, that kind of thing. So if you'd like, please let us know. We're still doing our, what is it? Next Friday, we're going to have our party. I still haven't set that up yet. I haven't done anything. I've been busy, but I want to invite a few people. So I hope everybody who's tuning in, some of our former guests and everything, you're invited to our year-end party bash, whatever. There's going to be music and dancing. I will dance. Jean-Jerome will provide the music. Our other guests will be doing whatever. They'll talk. We're just basically going to sort of hang out like tonight, right? And welcome, Jean-Jerome, because, I'll just chit-chatter all the time and whatever. And go ahead, Jean-Jerome.
Everybody. Welcome, Ekabo, everybody. Again, it's been a fantastic season. We did essentially 33 unique shows. We had the privilege of being able to have a different guest almost every single show for 33 episodes without fail. Our first season of Ancestral Eyes. We're hoping to reproduce this in 2021. We know that this year's been challenging for many with the pandemic, and it's caused divisions and different challenges around family, around work, around travel, and people have been a little bit down because of it. So hopefully the first season of Ancestral Eyes gave you at least food for thought and a fresh perspective on spirituality from many different sources, from many different backgrounds.
Absolutely. No, we had some interesting guests. A lot of them were our friends, and others had come suggested by some of our other friends, our other Facebook friends and stuff like that. So, in one sense, it's been a challenging year for everyone. But in another sense, I think this has sort of forced a lot of us to be very creative, like us, right? We decided, we're going to do this show. It actually came from a dream because, I believe in dreams and stuff like that. But anyway, so Mr. Jean-Jerome, what sort of ideas are you thinking for like next year? What are you
well, that's why now that we're live, part of this show is to get audience suggestions. Since we're live, we can discuss them now. If anybody has suggestions on particular belief systems or topics that or show recommendations for 2021, that would be very, very helpful, and we'd love to look at those and discuss them and go through them, right? So definitely.
I was going to say, what about just like, chats, like live chats happening? I know we've sort of stuck to sort of a format and getting to know people and talking about their different spiritual belief systems and everything, which has been fascinating and wonderful, and it's worked for us. But what about some former guests that can come on and we can just sort of have a live chit chat, talk about certain topics, something that may
Yeah,
interest them, or something
yeah,
that could even be
or
controversial,
or
but
controversial, or discuss, as you're saying, discuss maybe certain current affairs, topics, and
mhm,
subject matters within the different belief systems
mhm,
that we covered in season one. I think that would be very helpful. I think people would benefit from that.
mhm.
Just to give a quick recap, I mean, we went through Vodun Fa. We went through um, essentially root work and hoodoo. And we went
Mhm.
through alternative Catholic with Mary Magdalene to Father Fred, which was our first guest. And a shout out to
Mhm.
Father Fred. Hope everything is going well with him. We
Yeah,
had the privilege of having Larissa Orshak, Tuvan Shamanez.
yeah.
We had my friend and Oluo Boni Kabiesi Fabemi Faseye Fusula. We had
Mhm.
my other good friend, Makosi Nomad Lozi, Rebecca Rogerson, for Sangoma, for South
Mhm.
African spirituality Sangoma. We had
Danielle.
we had mentioned Danielle Vodunfa. We had
Mhm.
John Husalak for the Romani.
Right. We had
We had
Utu, witch
yeah,
doctor.
yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, Utu. We had Baba Nelson for
Mhm.
Afro-Cuban Ifa. We had
Owen Ballard,
Owen, Owen
and
Ballard, yeah, and
Sue
Kisi,
Harrison Bia
and
for
Kisi and Ocha,
yes,
and a little bit,
yes,
and so forth.
yes.
We had Ted and Kate Jaw as
Mm-hmm.
well. We
Yeah.
had High Priestess Karen Dales for Wicca.
Right. Right.
We had our good friend Dr. Gianmichael Salvato for
Yeah.
Stegonaria Stega,
Absolutely.
and
We
we hope
also had
you'll join us next
Patricia.
week.
We
Yeah,
had Patricia for the Slavic deities and Slavic lore, and also we had Ken Allen. Ken
Ken
Allen,
Allen,
who
yes,
is,
the
yes, our,
Muskogee Mystic,
that's
Muskogee
right.
Magi, Muskogee
He's
Magi.
awesome. Just
Yeah,
love him dearly.
yeah.
My
We had
bro.
we had Jenny Uzel, who's a druid
Hmm.
and a professor
Hmm.
in England.
Hmm.
Uh, we had
And don't forget the paranormal, Sean
Sean
Gilmore,
Gilmore. That's
my
right. We had
paranormal
Sean
buddies.
Gilmore.
A shout out to him for sure.
Yes,
Yes,
and we had Claudia Valdez, which shed light
Claudia.
on a
Yes,
with let's say North America, people may not have realized that the Mayan indigenous belief system, divination,
it's still very
astrology
much
is
alive.
still very much alive and being
Yeah,
kept alive with by people like Claudia, who have traveled to Guatemala and
absolutely.
teach seminars and bring a lot of the artwork and
Yep,
as well as other
yep.
things from that belief system. She, she's a calls herself describes herself as a timekeeper, which was a very
Right,
interesting
right.
that aspect of keeping time within that belief system.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Um,
we had the
oh
privilege of also having Dr. Javier Martinez, 33rd degree
my goodness,
Freemason.
yes.
So we had
Not many people get
Freemasonry.
to,
Yeah,
yes, not many people
exactly.
get to interview, a Mason,
Exactly. We had also Angela Puka, which was looking at sorcery, paganism, and through an academic lens.
Uh-huh,
And she was a
uh-huh.
PhD candidate when she was on our show, and now she's
And
been
now she is,
officially
yes.
now she is a doctor, Dr. Angela Puka,
Yeah,
in terms of
awesome. Good for her.
shamanism in Italy. So that was very, very good for her.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And
we had
let's not forget one of our guests who is now a successful author of his book.
absolutely
Um, yeah, and Outer Worlds. I still have to get a copy of that. And
Otherworld.
Other Worlds, yes. And apparently it's number one on Amazon in the U.S. and Canada
Yeah,
as
Chris
well
Allen.
for
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Allen.
Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had also the Lady Ria, which was a delight to have. Lady Ria, an
Absolutely.
institution in the pagan and Wiccan
What a
who went to
thrill
New
that
York. Lady
was.
Rhea was
She
a
was sweet.
interesting,
Really, really
very
sweet.
sweet
And
lady. And
Alexander Cabot.
Alexander Cabot, exactly. Reverend Alexander
Yep.
Cabot. Uh, very, very interesting perspectives on, very important Cabot line of witches and Wicca.
Absolutely.
And, we've been able to see that drive and that effort to revive these
Mhm.
traditions, to, make the general population aware that there are ancient belief systems that, because of, historical events and oppression in many cases, sometimes atrocities, were
Mhm.
cut off
Mhm.
from their roots, but now they're being replanted and
Exactly,
help and being nurtured,
reconstructed and
reconstructed,
as
replanted.
much as
Exactly.
possible, to their original roots, and some creativity, obviously, but no, and this is
And it
important for people to get in touch with their ancestral roots. However, you know, they do
absolutely.
that. Go ahead,
And
Jean Jerome. What were you gonna say?
we also had Melissa Cabot, your fellow Midland witch,
That's right.
and
How
of
could
the
I
Cabot
forget my
Line
friend
Park,
Melissa?
and Melissa,
God,
with her wonderful store that she does so well,
Wand and Cauldron.
London Cauldron, and
Wonderful store. Love that store. Just love that store. I really, truly do. And let's not forget, we've had some really awesome, loyal followers. Okay. So I'm going to say Malvin Seaborn, tomorrow we're going to be on his show.
that's
He's
right.
been one of our loyal followers, and I love him dearly. I love his voice and everything. He's a sweetheart. Um, and of course, Claire, my fellow school bus driver who tunes in most Fridays. Okay. And oh my God, who else? We have, of course, V&E. We have
Yeah,
Anka
that's
who
right.
tune in, and we have Essie, Mike too,
Yeah,
who comes in, and Beth. Oh my God, Beth with her kitties,
that's
our
right.
Mojo and our little TT. Okay, how could we not? They've become sort of our mascots, and we watch them grow too. So that's kind of cute. No, it's been. You know what? It's been wonderful. When I think about my Facebook friends and having invited them, and they so graciously accepted, and Brian Walsh that I wanted right from the beginning, and oh my God, it took what this long to get him, but we got him on.
We
Okay.
got Brian Watt. We got
Um,
Carmela as well, psychic
oh my
medium,
God, Carmela, yes,
which
and
is a delight. Very, very
it's
nice lady. Very gifted. Very, very
exactly.
gifted.
And them coming on, once I asked them to come on, and gotten to know them in a way that I don't think I would have been able to had I have not asked the questions, or you asked the questions. And just when you think you know someone's path, and then they actually will go into it, how they got into it, what they do, how they practice,
Mhm.
it really gives you a different perspective, and you go, gee, and I thought I knew that. I've read about it, but when you actually have a friend who practices a certain spiritual belief system and they talk about it, it gives you some insights. It sort of comes alive, right, from what you usually read in a book or something. And there's Malvin. Hi, Malvin. I love that little bull horns and everything. His bull face. It's always a pleasure to see Malvin. So
Uh, so
no,
we're going to
yeah,
be on the
we've
show
had some.
at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's right, on Unexplained Possibilities, and this
Okay.
is going to be live on YouTube, I believe, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, we'll share it
So
to Facebook as well when it's
yeah,
live, so people can tune in through Facebook. And
yeah, yeah.
I also want to acknowledge where we had Robbie Thomas, psychic medium, criminal
Oh,
profiler,
oh
very interesting
yeah,
perspective on using the psychic
yes,
gift. We had
exactly,
Ian.
and him discovering his roots too, his
That's right.
ancestral roots.
His First
Awesome.
Nations roots. Yeah. We
Yep.
had Iyani Fauru Omoku Adedoyin from California. Ade.
Oh
Iyani
my
Fa.
God, a day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a fangirl of a day. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love her.
We
I
had our
really
friend
do.
Ofunshi as well, Bakoso,
Yes.
Shaman, and Babalao. And that was very,
Uh-huh.
very interesting. And we had our Brian, as you mentioned, Brian Walsh, their
Right.
storyteller. I mean,
Right.
they, re-emphasizing the importance that stories have in our
Mhm.
lives and how we
Absolutely.
can,
The story of our
transmit,
lives. Mhm.
exactly, we can transmit a lot of, history
Mhm.
and so forth through those stories, right?
It's funny. Okay, I'm going to read what Mike has to say. I look forward to every Friday, 5 p.m. my time. Thank you both for the time given to us with special guests. Got through 20. Aw, thanks. It helped me get through. It really, really did, and I thank Jean-Jerome for that as well. It was something to look forward to. Otherwise, I think all my friends would be bored with, my little my little Facebook things on cooking with Chocha Teresa, you know. But it was something to look forward to and get to know my friends too. And Vianney says, definitely tuning in tomorrow. Awesome. Thank you, Vianney. So the other thing that I was thinking of when we started this whole podcasting was, do you remember it was, I think, it was like
Hi,
11
Jay.
o'clock on this. Hi. Oh my God. And there's another one of our faithful followers, Jay. I knew there was someone. We were missing someone. I was missing to mention your name. But do you remember it was on a Sunday? It was like 11 o'clock at night or something. And you went, yeah, sure, let's go live. And we were thinking of what were we going to talk about. And and I remember some of the suggestions. We were talking about paranormal shows that we were going to have and stuff. And of course, Bigfoot, and we never really did talk about Bigfoot. And I still, you know what? Next year, I swear to God, Jean-Jerome, I'm going to find a Bigfoot specialist, okay? I'm
Okay,
going to
all right.
find someone from the Bigfoot research expedition, and they're going to
You
come on
go,
as a
girl.
guest.
You go, girl.
I am.
You
I
go,
really,
Sister
really,
Teresa.
truly am.
You find me
I
an expert.
am, because he does exist. And his name is Daryl, my friend Bill Carberry. Every time I
Oh,
post something with Bigfoot, he always goes, is his name Daryl? Yeah, his name's Daryl.
oh my goodness.
But yeah, I think, everything that we said we were going to, that we said we would set out and do, we did on our show, except
100%.
for Bigfoot. Okay.
Except for Bigfoot. Yes.
Yes.
Bigfoot
So
2021. That's going to be the mission. Bigfoot
that's right.
2021.
Bigfoot
Thank, thank,
2021 on Ancestral Eyes.
thank you, Ken. You guys are great. What you're doing with Ancestral Eyes is spiritually beautiful. I definitely look forward to it. I think you and Teresa and Jean-Jerome are truly genuine, gifted, loving people. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you,
The feeling is
Ken.
mutual.
Love
Wishing
him
you the
too.
best.
Yes. So yeah, no. So everything that we had talked about that Sunday at 11 o'clock p.m. just did a trial run, and it was one of our biggest shows, wasn't it? Of people tuning in. I think I was even in my pajamas and stuff. Well, today I'm in my neck warmer, and see these wonderful little gloves, these hand warmers. They're made by my friend Jocelyn Allen, and she is visiting with me. And she makes these. So if anybody wants them, just let me know, okay? Because I can get her. She'll even mail them to you, okay? So they're really cool. They're warm. When I hold my bus, after the bus warms up and everything, sometimes it gets too hot. But when you just wear
Mhm.
hand warm, never mind. Anyway, I feel like I'm doing a commercial, but yeah, I'm plugging her. I am. I'm definitely plugging my friend.
Well, we
And
plug
Mike
our
said
friends. We plug our
we
friends.
plug. That's right. And what does Mike say? He said the Paolo Tata was one of my favorite. Oh, you mean with Owen? Yeah, that was mine. You see, I have Jean-Jerome. I know he hates this, but I have secret crushes on some people, some of our guests, and Owen was one of them. Gian Michael was another one, and I have a few others, but I'm not telling. Those two, they know it, so whatever. But and Malvin, I have a secret crush on Malvin as one of our loyal listeners. Bigfoot is an elusive guy. So it makes, since he slipped through your finger. That's right. Good one, Melvin. That's right. He slipped through our fingers. That's Bigfoot, you know. What am I going to do on Fridays until the new season? Well, you can call us up. We can do, Facebook Live and stuff, and just talk Vianney and stuff. And Vianney, oh my God! And let's talk about plugging our friends. Vianney's artwork.
100%.
My logo, my new business card. Oh my God! And on my Facebook page, the Slavic Witch, our Ancestral Eyes, what she's done. Job well done. Job well done. And our local, the Ancestral Eyes, Bo Kim Louie, my good friend for many, many, many years. Look at that beautiful black widow spider. Hey, it's all about friends. It's all about connecting and making sure our friends are but they're important. They're like family. They're our extended family.
That's right.
And we get to know them, and we get to talk to them. We share them. That's what this show has really been about, is sharing our friends and the things that they do. I remember making a list of all the friends that I was going to have on my show, and it was a big competition of, how many do you have? I have this many. Well, I have that many, and it was fun. It was fun. It was nice to talk to our guests who are our friends. But next year, I think what we want to do is we want to talk to some strangers too, people we don't know. So, if anybody who's tuning in has any suggestions of people that we may want to contact, I think there's one person that I want to, and this was Melissa had suggested, the guy who wrote The Psychic Witch, what's his name? Matt Oren. He's someone who I'd like to perhaps interview. I think he'd be kind of fascinating. What were you thinking, Jean-Jerome? Do you have any ideas? Well,
I'd like to be able to, if we can. The problem is this year with the pandemic, and also with other issues going on in the world, it was a little bit harder. But we did, regardless of that, we were able to get some international guests. We had a few people tuning in. Bolan from the BBC.
Oh my God, Bolan.
Chief Bolan,
That's another guy I have a crush on. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, and we had Jennifer Uzo as well from England. We had Angela Puka that tuned in from England.
Yes.
Looking for, we had Baba Nelson from Mexico. So I would like to see if we can get, there are some guests that were unfortunately unable to, from other parts of the world, like Finland and Nigeria. There's some from Nigeria, Benin, Ghana that I'd like to bring on, but again, because of the time difference and everybody being challenged with a bit with the pandemic and their schedules, it was almost impossible to coordinate in 2020. But hopefully in 2021 we can continue that international sort of flair and also dialogue, right, to extend our reach.
Absolutely.
I mean, overall, the show reached, we at our peak, overall this season, we've reached over 150,000 people around the world. So considering we did that in just under a year, because we started the show early
in March.
That's not bad. We've had very good reach. Some of our shows, single shows, reached a lot of people. So. It's been quite interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. So hold on one second here. My phone, I had to turn the little battery pack on. Oh, geez, hold on a second. Yeah, live shows and Teresa's phone, that's kind of like, what's going on here? Why won't it? Okay. All right, it's charging now. All right, so.
Okay, so Mike says, here's something new to share as a follower with you both. My name is Mike. Is really my last name, which is directly connected to the original Miguel family of Iberia, España, modern-day Spain. My real first name is Esneri. Happy Friday and bless. Hey, Esneri.
Oh.
All right, that's why it's Essie Mike. Mike is his last name. Yeah, Essie Mike. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
Very
we
nice.
assume, that, Mike is someone's first name as opposed to it being
Correct.
his last name. Yeah, no.
He's a
Cool.
yeah, yeah. Very nice, very nice. No, but that's good. That's how you get to know people from different backgrounds, different ethnic origins,
Absolutely.
and so forth. So
Did you
yeah.
feel like you learned anything from any of our I mean, I did. I learned a lot from a lot of our guests, as I'm sure, people who tuned in as well.
Oh, definitely,
Um,
definitely. I learned from
what was,
stories. Yeah.
go ahead. What was one of the biggest things that you had learned that you felt that you didn't know?
Well, I'd say because of my background,
Mhm.
sort of Afro-Cuban background, my mom being born in Cuba and being an ethnologist, and having worked with Fernando Ortiz, let's say I had a fairly good understanding or grasp of Afro-Cuban related or descendant belief systems. So Palo, Orisha, Osha, Regla de
Mhm.
Ocha, Ifa.
Mhm.
It wasn't too much like, you always learn something or you
Mhm.
refresh
Mhm.
ideas. But I was definitely learned some new aspects within the Sangoma. Some things we learned
Yes.
about Sangoma. The
Yes.
Tuvan, the Tuvan was very
Yes.
Tuvan shaman. I mean, Larissa was very
Mhm.
interesting. I was fascinated to see, all the way across the globe,
Yeah.
those belief systems are surviving,
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah.
And she's a very
She
dignified representative of that belief system and those
And
people,
she's
right?
another one that I have like a fangirl crush on too. It was Larissa.
Yeah,
Larissa and Ade. They were like my faves.
yeah. I learned a lot from also from Dr. Jim Michael as well because there was that whole area of Strego,
Yes, I was
Stregoneria,
going to say
Strega.
that. Yeah. Didn't
I
know that
wasn't,
that existed even,
no, and I respected the fact that he what he practices is something handed down generation after generation after generation,
Absolutely.
and shows that fortunately in there, even in spite of the omnipresence of the Catholic Church, that basically that's a thread of belief and traditions and root work and all that was unbroken, right? It didn't
Right.
have to be reconstituted,
Absolutely.
in the 1900s or 1800s. Well, the other thing I learned, again, were reinforced more so that Wicca, many of these different belief systems, had a birth or rebirth or recon
Yep.
all around the same time. Late 1800s, mid to late 1800s or early 1900s
Hmm.
is when
Hmm.
there was seems a global awakening in terms
Hmm.
of trying to resurrect and bring back belief systems that have been,
Hmm.
pretty much suppressed
Hmm.
or repressed and
Hmm.
outlawed in many cases. You know,
Yeah.
suffered many travesties, many atrocities in some cases, and
Yeah.
but yet you'll be able to make their way back a little bit, right? So
No, for sure. And that was the thing that I found also was the resurgence of that. And it's almost like I would say even 2020 is sort of like once again another reawakening, another resurgence of people reaching out, trying to not just find their ancestral roots, but really reaching out and trying to connect spiritually and connect with one another, and connect with others that have like mind, and even traditional religions they're expanding. I remember my mind being blown when I had met Father Fred a few years ago, and and to learn that the Catholic Church there was a split, and that there's Catholic priests who marry, which I did know, the Orthodox Catholic, but that there's a whole other segment of Catholic priests, and finding that they embrace different spiritualities. That was an eye opener for me as well. So even when you look back at the traditional religions, they themselves have had to evolve to a degree. What was it? There was some. friend of mine of Jewish background, the the temple that she had belonged to, very much pro-woman, okay, and her rabbi was a female, which is kind of like almost unheard of, right? But we're seeing this, like things are opening up, and it's time. It really is time for us to reach out to one another, not make enemies of even the traditional religions. It's something that we have to acknowledge, that even though we have our differences, if we show each other the respect and try to understand, and I think that's what our show has tried to do, is try to sort of give you a bit of background and perhaps even a thread to sort of, want to learn more, expose other people's religious beliefs and why they're important to them. And that in itself is not just because of our show, but it really speaks of our human nature and our inquisitive human nature and our nature as humans to embrace things that are spiritual, all right?
Absolutely.
Godlike, okay?
Mhm.
We're not just, very, I don't know, what am I looking for? We're not atheists, even atheists, I really doubt, because we're seeking to know more about ourselves and about each other,
Yeah.
and I think that's important. So Beth says, I regret I have to depart early tonight because of another commitment. Love you both. The show is the bomb. Thanks, Beth. Beth is also one of our other co-hosts as well. And Beth, we love you too. And what, the little kitties? Meow.
Mojo and Titi.
Mojo and,
The other thing I wanted to acknowledge
Titi.
as well, I wanted to extend a thank you, warm thank you to Dr. Jim Michael, because he, for his invitation, we had the opportunity, you and I, to be a guest
Yeah.
on their show, Masca and the Mystic, with
Yes.
Andrea Savar as well. So,
Andrea's going to be our guest next year.
yes, that's right. That's right. So that was a lovely show. I really enjoyed,
I did
being on
too.
their show, and I think they're doing a fantastic job with that show. And
And
we
their
look forward
followers are awesome people. I have some of them as my
100%.
Facebook friends now,
And
and they're great.
we have now we have the opportunity to be with Melvin on his show Unexplained Possibility.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
this is the type of thing, like being able to we've been able to also interact. You were on a guest on Into the Abyss, which then became our paranormal
Yes.
show, which is doing
Yeah.
very well with Sean and his co-host. Uh,
Brian
so
Mercer,
Brian
his new
Mercer,
show. That's right.
yeah,
They, and you know what I would really like to look forward to is when things get better with COVID between Canada and the US, to be able to go to America and meet some of our American friends and some of our American
right,
guests. Break
yeah,
bread, as you said, right? I'd love
yeah,
to do a paranormal investigation with Sean. Like, oh my God, that would be so freaking awesome. It really would. Like, yeah, little things like that, that I think, I don't know, that's what I'm looking forward to, so our,
yeah,
the border can be opened once again once things get better. So there's hope, and
yeah,
that's what I
absolutely.
think our show has sort of been
And
about.
we can't forget, we have to thank Utu and Cats
Absolutely.
Entertainment and all that, because
Yes.
the Conjuration Camp. We were guests at the Conjuration
Yes.
Camp with Beth and
That was so
herself and
wonderful too.
myself, and at least we had a chance to make new friends in the pagan community
Haggard.
here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was able to talk a little bit about Ifa Risa belief system. We talked about witchcraft.
Absolutely.
We talked about
Absolutely.
the gift of sight mediumship and everything else. So that was really very, very a great opportunity. And it was at a time when COVID allowed it, because we kept our social distancing. We kept within the
It was
guidelines.
in, it
And
was open
It was open air. It was
open
open air environment.
air.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah.
really really good to be able to share that. So we that's one of the things we wanted to do is encourage as well joint projects. One thing I'd
Yes.
like to see in 2021 is with some of our past guests is to uh, collaborate on joint research and
Mhm,
be able
mhm.
to do that.
Workshops or something, like
Correct.
we're open, we're open for
Exactly.
business.
So workshops, whatever the case may be, research, publishing, like
Mhm,
anything, to bring, exchange of knowledge, exchange of information,
mhm,
and a sense of community. That sense of community, and rescue some of these the
mhm,
information and knowledge, which is sometimes buried or marginalized by society.
mhm,
Right. That
mhm,
was part of the thing is for a lot of the guests and practicing these belief systems to not feel marginalized, to not feel
mhm,
alone, to not feel
mhm,
isolated. Right. So
mhm. Sorry, my cat is tapping. Hold on, I gotta bring her up. Mrs. Pizza Pie. This is what she does almost every Friday. She taps on my thigh and stuff. Oh, my nose is itchy. Anyway, yeah, so I thought I'd bring her up because otherwise she wouldn't leave me alone. But no,
yeah,
and yeah, to do any sort of joint endeavors in the future, with any of our guests if they're interested, or any of our audience members and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
no, it's been a good year, I think. I mean, and there's also been some tragedies with some of our friends and their family members and stuff,
yeah,
so
yeah. Unfortunately,
acknowledging that there's been some unfortunate things that have happened too, so, keeping it in perspective that, not everything is all shiny, happy people, sometimes there are tragedies and we have to get through it, so,
yeah. And we've also
but
had some. There've been some personal victories and moves forward, and some religious fronts as well. Was very
mhm.
elated to see the recognition for Kabisi Ifasaye Efunsola,
Yes, Barbara
Tumalu Oguni,
Efasale, who I love. I love him
and
too.
and for the community, stay tuned. There's going to be some major announcements in 2021 and leading at the end of
Mm,
2020 for both Canada and the United States and even
yeah.
Nigeria. So,
Ooh.
there's a lot of stuff in the works, and a lot of
Yeah.
projects and initiatives. So,
Hmm.
we're very grateful for that. I also want to acknowledge, I'll say this a little bit in Spanish, Bokono Dafoji, Daniel.
Absolutely. I love
Uh,
Danielle.
and
Danielle, I love you too.
Daniel, te queremos un abrazo, hermano. Te queremos felicitar por tu programa, Despertar
Mhm.
Ancestral. We want, recognize his show, uh,
Absolutely.
Despertar Ancestral, which is the Ancestral Awakening.
Hmm.
And he's been
Hmm.
doing a few episodes, very interesting. You know,
He's pretty amazing as a
he's awesome.
person, as a
Yeah,
reader, as a medium too.
yeah,
It's almost like we take him for granted, but I want to acknowledge him as well because he's done a lot for us within our group as well,
absolutely,
and some
absolutely.
people that we know. I have to acknowledge that, love him dearly. He's a good man. He knows his stuff and, he's very gifted as well. So
Yeah, and again, it forms
I
that
have a secret
alliance.
crush on him too. I have a
Yeah,
crush on a lot of people.
yeah. And with him and Baba Nelson with the Fat World Conference, and
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
have a lot of we've had an opportunity to have very very knowledgeable, very
Hmm.
um, innovative people in terms of again
Hmm.
keeping these traditions alive. Very gifted, and
Yeah.
so want to recognize a lot of new great creativity, ingenuity, and
Uh-huh.
everything else. So
All right. Now she'll leave me alone. Yeah,
hello,
no,
Carmela.
absolutely. And there's Carmela. Yes, Carmela. I love Carmela. I don't even know how I got to even know Carmela. Well, I got to know her through Facebook, but I don't know what it was that made me tune in to you know what, it's spirit made me do certain things, made me tune in, be friends with this person, or that person reached out to me and I became friends, because it's been a learning experience as well, you know, and trusting spirit, you know, that's something that all of us have to do. You know, sometimes we forget about that. We're these spiritual beings, and we sometimes forget to trust our own, you know, entourage, our own spiritual entourage, which is important. Facebook user, always loved your show, learned so much, looking forward to so much more. Who's Facebook user?
I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to. Hopefully, a Facebook user will identify themselves because Facebook is not cooperating.
Yes, and VME is showing us X's and O's. Is that what that is?
Hearts, and she's nostalgic, and she's already missing the show.
Yes, and she's the one who coined the phrase fangirl. I know, it's like I'm a fangirl of some of our guests, you know. They were awesome, you know, like Carmela. I'm also a fan of Carmela's.
Oh, that was Claire. That was Claire.
Oh, it's Claire.
Hey, Claire.
Claire Bear. She's so cute. Yes, it's me, Claire. Hey, Claire. Claire, how come you're like Facebook user as opposed to your, you know,
it's a security setting. Depending where they're connecting from or through. Sometimes Facebook hides their identity. So, but no, it's been good, and we also wanted to encourage, you know, again, don't be afraid, as you were saying, Teresa. Don't be afraid to take chances. I mean, here we are, following spirit, consulting E5, and you know, getting all the and saying, do it. In other words, we launched a podcast with no like formal podcast, and right now we are
nothing.
We've had the privilege of reaching over 150,000 people around the world. We've had 33 episodes under our belt. We've had amazing guests, amazing content, amazing knowledge being shared, and from scratch, basically just from, you know, letting spirit blow into our sails and move the ship forward, right? So
absolutely, you know, it was that dream that I remember telling you, and you told Baba Ifasaye, and then all of a sudden it was like, from that the show was created because we followed spirit, you know. And Vicky Bennett Colvin, hi Vicky, my first time here. Welcome. We're doing our year-end recap, but we have a lot of shows that that we have saved and archived. Oh yes, and name some of the networks that that have you know.
Yeah, so we're on the main one, or we're on iTunes. We broadcast. We have our podcast on iTunes, iHeart Radio, Spotify. Right, are some of the major, as well as a few other podcast engines.
What about
and
YouTube?
We're on YouTube? And on YouTube as well. We have our YouTube channel. These shows are transmitted live, and archived there as well. So, we and that's picking up as well. We've had almost 1,000 listener or listens of our podcasts.
Oh, wow.
There on the audio only segment of this show, right? So,
wow, that's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, no so kidding.
Just following spirit, like you said, you know, trust.
That's right.
Trust yourself, trust spirit, trust that you know, right?
That's right.
It's a matter of following your heart, following your callings, you know. And you know, we all work hard, we all have to have a day job, you know, and stuff, and it's nice to mix spiritual work with our, you know, daily lives as well. You know, Vicky, finding people's practices. And Vicky said, recommended to me by Ken Allen. Oh, Ken, he's one of my favorites too. God, that's the one thing out of this whole show that I came to know, is how many wonderful friends I have on Facebook. You know, some that I know in person, some that I got to know through Facebook, that were introduced by other people, even though we sort of had a falling out with Zarina Crow. But I mean, hey, she introduced us to some pretty amazing people, so it was what it was, right? But hey, that's the thing. You meet people for a reason, a season, etc., right? Whatever that saying goes. I'm not good at remembering sayings and stuff, but learning to follow my inner voice. Follow it, Vicky. Follow and trust. Follow and trust. There's things that sometimes you doubt. Don't doubt. Love Ken. He's the bomb. He is the bomb. One of the first things that I remember when I met Ken, and we met, I think we were in a mutual group together or something or other. And then when he reached out and I heard him live and his accent, well, that was it. I loved him immediately. I just went, oh my God. I love Ken's voice, his accent, his Southern drawl. It was just, he was the bomb for me, right? I was just so enthralled with him, He's such a character too. And he's my bro. He's my brother. We connect privately, we chat and stuff like that. And that's the other thing too. I got to chat privately with some of our guests that have been on our show, and talk to them and gotten to know them a little bit better, and really felt, I live alone, well, with dogs and other animals and stuff, but I feel with the friends and the connections that I've made, I'm not alone, I mean, well, look at you, Jean-Jerome. All I have to do is pick up the phone and stuff,
Boo.
Except, yeah, boo. But my favorite is
circle back to you.
Circle back. Yeah, it's this long 24, 48 hours, 72 hours. Hello, Jean-Jerome. Hello. Yeah, I'll circle back to you.
I'm still coming around.
Anka and I had talked about that. Him and his big, I'll get back to you, or I'll circle back to you, And had I have waited, honest to God, what are some of those memes where you see the skeleton sitting there by the phone, right? Just sitting there going, uh-huh. Oh God, Jean-Jerome, you're funny. Yeah, I'll circle back. Sure shit he won't. But in truth, you are a busy person. You are. I know that you are. And so yeah, Ken knows, right? But it's true. And I love when some people go, I know that Jean-Jerome is busy, because sometimes they'll go through me to find out about you to get readings or something, right? And it's like, he is busy. Trust me on this. I'm still waiting for him to circle back.
That's right.
Oh Lord, you could talk to me anytime. That's Claire. Yes, and Claire, well, I have coffee with Claire sometimes, and we haven't had coffee in a while. Claire, where have you been? There's times where I've wanted a coffee. I've gone to Timmy's by myself. Yeah, boo, But Jean-Jerome knows I sit there and have my coffee. I call him, right? And then I eat my polar bear donut and go, I had a polar bear donut.
That's right. She taunts me with her polar bear donuts.
Yes. And I rip him apart and I tell him what, I'm eating the ear now. I'm eating his nose now. So.
Oh my goodness.
So that's our year-end recap.
Oh,
you think?
Well, yeah, I think so. Melvin says, I'm going to steal that circle back.
No, Melvin, because you know what happened? You'll fall
you're
into
a traveler
the abyss.
of that circle. You're a traveler of that circle, right?
You won't get off. You'll go into the abyss and you'll never come out.
But the main thing is, if you look long enough into the darkness of the abyss, the darkness stares right back at you, but you
Do you know what?
can't blink.
You know what? There was something I recently saw. I was watching something, and when they said this, I was like, "Oh my God, I have to tell Jean-Jerome about this." And he's like, "You can't blink." And Ianifa, of course, and she's another one of our loyal followers. Yep, busy dude. Yeah, see? Oh, I bet he's told you that he would circle back to you too, Ianifa, right? Me and Anka, we actually circle back to each other, and she goes, because Anka will message me and go, "So have you talked to Jean-Jerome?" And I go, "Yeah. Have you?" She goes, "Yeah, he's circling back." But we're always so droll when we say it to each other. Anka, tune in. Anka, are you listening to me? Come on. You know.
I'm telling you. No, they're just unfortunately there's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only one of me sometimes. So.
I know. Poor Jean-Jerome. And sometimes I really do feel sorry for you. And I do remind you to go out and walk. Have you
Yeah,
continued walking?
I have.
You're lying. I can tell.
I have.
You've got that look on your face.
Part of that
You
circling
have.
back, I have.
Because I made sure that you were eating properly,
Yeah,
and and saying, "Have you gone for your walk day, Jean-Jerome?"
yeah.
What?
Oh,
So
it's
so when
busy.
was yeah? So when was the last time that you took your walk?
Today. Today, I had a good long walk
Today?
today. Yeah.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
good lad.
The weather was nice. The weather's been cooperative
Mhm.
the last few days here in Toronto. We
It's
have
been
unusually
nice up
warm,
here.
mild weather here.
We've had some fairly mild weather. That snow, we still have a little bit of snow, but a lot of it's melted, so it's nice. Called out. Yes, Melvin. I've called him out.
There we go. Melvin, I'm looking forward to that show tomorrow night. I just have this idea that Melvin's gonna have like a Bigfoot waiting for you, Teresa, tomorrow night. while I'm circling back.
Right. You do the big circling back, the walkabout, and
Now,
I'll be
now, of all the circle back, Bigfoot takes the cake on that one because everybody's been waiting for him to show up.
well, he does exist. He just circles back. And, we have yet to wait for him. And what does Ianifa say? Yes, he is to circle back to me. Yeah, you truly inspire me. Okay, what I love about these shows are the authenticity and genuineness. You guys do this from the heart. Yes, we do. But sorry, Ianifa, I laughed a little bit too much about the circling back. Yeah, you know what it's like. Teresa, what the heck are you drinking? Claire, it's a Timmy's. Timmy's on Highway 12. What is it? That's all it is. I swear to God. And I also had 2 biscotti, so maybe a little bit of a sugar high with that, right?
Ooh, sugar high.
Yeah, sugar high. What's that song? That popular song that's on the radio? Watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar pie, whatever. Yeah, that's it. No, it's just Timmy's coffee. That's all it is. But so next week's party, Claire, you're invited. Jay, you're invited. I made the list and I checking it twice. I'm going to find out who's naughty or nice. And I don't know where I put it, but I know I've invited a couple of people. Claire, you're one of them. Jay is one of them because we can have up to 10 people, correct?
Up to 10, including ourselves. That's right.
Okay. All right. So we are going to be sending an invite. So
we're going to put that to the test. That's what they say. We're going to put that to the test. The most we've had is 4. We're going to really push that now.
Okay. And then what happens? It crashes and, I'll be dancing alone.
Then it'll be an interesting show.
Yes, it will be.
It'll be the year-end party.
That's
But,
right.
but everybody, again, if tuning in, if you've got ideas, again, even by the party next week, please let us know if there's things or ideas, show ideas, things that you've been, dying to see or dying to have something, look at, and so
Absolutely.
forth.
Great idea.
And let us know during the party. I mean, we're trying to wind the year down and unwind, relax a little bit, and sort of
Mhm.
interact with our audience and with our guests and so forth. So,
Mhm.
but
That's what we
again,
should do next year. More of interacting with our audience, have them come on board, and talk to us and stuff like that, just random. Ooh, I have an idea.
ooh,
Why
that's a
don't
good
we
idea.
randomly pick out people and go, "Hi, you're live," right? And just reach out and see who's going to talk to us. What do you
Yeah,
think?
or basically along those same lines, because the problem is StreamYard wouldn't allow us to do that spontaneously. But what we
Uh-huh.
could do, if we have a topic or a guest that a particular audience member has suggested, or that they would like to directly ask questions, we can send them the invite. They could, like, Bolam, from the BBC. He's a friend of mine. We brought it, was able to
Yes.
directly ask and interview Baba
Yes.
Fakri on our last show as well, which was, I thought,
Yes.
I found
Yes.
that dynamic to be really interesting.
Very good. Yes. And that's what made me think of a few ideas for next year's show, is to have people come on live and talk to so anybody who had tuned in, if there's a past guest that you would like to talk to, have them come on board, right? Because that was a perfect venue, our last show, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to be, right? And it says, I want to talk to a green witch to guide me. Yes, it's Claire. Oh, right. Okay, Facebook user. Every time I see that, I'm like, huh? Who that? Okay. Okay, a green witch. Well, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to find a green witch. So anybody out there who knows a green witch, a hedge witch, someone like that could put us in touch with, there's a suggestion for a topic next year. Oh, we can say that now. Next year. Wow.
Wow, it's amazing.
Mhm.
We're like already at 11th of December, where the year is 2020 has been like a blur. Like, we did so
I
many
know.
things, and it was such a upheaval of the world, order
Mhm.
and operation, and just unfolding.
And
Change
politically,
politically. Yeah,
wow.
new
Big
president.
changes. Yay, America. Woohoo. I have what Yanifa says, I have a list. I want to talk to all if I could. I know, I know. And we could have some of our guests come back, and talk and have it more informal rather than us sort of putting them on the hot seat and having a format and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we might do that with some of our new guests and stuff, but some former guests to come on and continue some conversations, because some of our guests we talked about, we got on some really good topics, and we only have so long, like we have 2 hours and that's it. But I know there were a few guests that we would like to continue yapping to,
Yeah,
and stuff.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. And you
Yeah.
know what I found out? Okay, so I'm going to ask you this, Jean-Jerome. So what is one thing you didn't know about me that you found out this year? Oh, come
I
on.
know I know everything about you, Teresa.
Ah, come on. No, you
Look
don't.
who you're talking to. Look who you're talking to. What I don't know, Ifa tells me.
Oh, BB, bad
Maybe.
Babalao. Super bad. SBB, super bad Babalao. No, come on. I'm sure there was
You
something
can
you
run, but you
didn't.
can't hide. No, no,
Really?
I would say not so much that I didn't know, but I'm very happy to have seen your growth. Your
Oh,
growth in
thank
terms
you.
of, being a co-host, having wonderful questions, really hustling to, organize a lot of the guest
Mhm.
lineups, the questions. Um, your growth spiritually in terms of your own mediumship, your own reconnecting with your ancestral roots, with your Joto, with your Slavic roots, your leadership in terms of taking a leadership role in many Slavic groups and groups that talk about that again, where there's that revival and resurrect and search and interest in terms of the old way. And I think it's been fantastic to see that growth and really coming into your own, really owning it, the Slavic witch.
Thank you.
And running with it really and doing it very well. So I think it's nice to see somebody blossom, right, and reestablish and honor their ancestral roots, right, and all the time being initiated through Isefa and really following your destiny, and that's really wonderful.
Thank you. Oh God, and now I feel so bad because I was waiting to tell you what I found out about you.
What? Oh, I'm telling you.
That you and I share the same birthday, April 6th.
That's right.
That's one thing I didn't know through all these years. I didn't know that until, whatever. But you know what, Jean-Jerome, what I found out too, talk about, growth, spiritual growth and stuff like that. I've seen you blossom. You used to be this very serious babalao guy, right? And it was like, holy shit, what are you going to do to get this guy to laugh, and crack a smile and stuff? And, now you have like this bigger family. I think you've come out of your shell in a sense, because you're very much a not secret, but very serious babalao kind of guy. But now you've got family. You've got me, you've got Anka, you've got Vianney, you've got the rest of us, Deborah, Beth, like now you've got all these other people with you. You've expanded. There's Baba Fase, Baba Nelson. We've made connections, with other, so it's been mutual. I've seen that within yourself too. And I found that you really have a real silly, crazy sense of humor where sometimes, honest to God, I tell you people, Jean-Jerome and I will laugh till it freaking hurts. Okay. Right. Seriously. We're like fucking crying. Okay. And it's like, okay, gotta go because this is like getting stupid. I can't even breathe sometimes. Right. And, but, no. And I found that like, seriously, you're more than just a babalao. You're my brother too, and I love you dearly. You have become the Alfred that my friend who passed away that I held so dearly to my heart. You've kind of replaced him in that sense. So,
Thank you. Jay, do either of you have any prediction for 2021? Well, for Ifa's side, the predictions are done the letter of the year, and that usually comes out January 1st. So probably around the last week in December, offerings are made and babalaos gather in different places in Cuba, in the United States, and Mexico, and different places, and they come out with a prediction for the calendar year of 2021.
And what is it?
Yeah, different. We don't know yet. It'll be announced. They haven't even defined yet. They haven't even asked the Ifa yet. What? And again, the letter of the year was quite accurate. The letter of the year talked about pandemic, talked about lots of death and everything else, and changes, big upheavals politically and everything else. And we definitely seen that bear out. And for the Nigerians, in Ile-Ife, Odo Ekiti, they do the letter of the years based on the Yoruba calendar, which coincides right around the June time frame. So that's when you have the predictions for the religious community from Ife, from Ado Ekiti, in June timeframe. In terms of other predictions, I don't know. Teresa, are you going to do any predictions for 2021? Are you going to tap in?
You know what? I've been thinking about it earlier this week with regards to, we had that second wave of COVID, and up here, up north, we've had our first death in Midland, COVID related. And I've been thinking about it in that sense. And I think we're going to pretty much see this disease continue, unfortunately. And I think it's not over and done with us yet as people. But what we're going to see is a lot of people making changes within themselves. My prediction is it's going to continue for the next while, but I think the changes that are coming are going to be very, how can I put it? Well thought out. What's the word? What am I trying to say here, Jean-Jerome? When
Deliberate?
someone, what?
Very deliberate?
Yeah,
deliberate?
Something else. Pragmatic. I think we're all really starting to see that pragmatic side of us, and we are going to continue seeing that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think this has given us a chance to reflect back and take upon ourselves what really matters, what really is important to us. How can we survive? A lot of us have had financial upheaval. A lot of us have lost family members, have had personal upheavals. And I think some of us are realizing that we can pretty well handle a lot of things if it's thrown our way. And those who can't can get help or reach out. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. And I think there's going to be a lot more, how can I put it? A more understanding. I think finally, as a society, we are going to have to really come to grips with more of our compassion and our understanding. And I think that's going to continue. I predict that there's going to be a few more deaths, definitely. I think that that's not going to go away anytime soon, but I think that things are going to start getting better. I think 2022, for some reason, feels like things are going to start to normalize a little bit. We still have to hunker in, and we still have to take ourselves very seriously. This is not the time to, throw caution to the wind, and pretend that things are not serious or that the disease isn't real, that a vaccine doesn't help. We have to look at all of these possibilities and really kind of come to grapple with the reality of this, and not a time to lose our heads. So I think we have to still, my prediction is that this year is still a year of being serious, but coming to terms with ourselves. And I think that that's what's going to be happening. Carmela, are you going to be sharing that here live?
No. So Carmela, the letter of the year is done different societies, especially in the diaspora, the African diaspora. So in the Caribbean, Cuba is the like principal place. Also, Miami has one. California, many Central American countries do a letter of the year as well now. Mexico, Spain, European country. So we might. That would be an interesting. I could once the different letters of the year come out, based on the previous year and depending what's going on, I could at least we could present what the prophecies are for 2021. And on the show, and then look at it with a critical eye and sort of an interpretive eye, not just from IFA but other belief systems as well. I think that would be an interesting way to kick off the year, right? January, our first show in January, probably going to be January 15th at 8 p.m. Friday, January 15th. So. That'll give some time for all the different letters of the year to sort of filter in from the West and diaspora, and then we can see what else is going on.
No,
They've been fairly accurate. Again, there's been. What I'll do is we can go into a little description in terms of what does the letter of the year mean. What eau de vie fa
Mhm.
was the letter
Yeah,
of the
give
year.
us a little bit of that.
First, sort of is defined or mentioned, and then the tradition, how the letter of the year has evolved, over the centuries, and
Mm-hmm.
what was the purpose, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects or impacts the community where it's drawn or divined
Mm-hmm.
versus the world, right?
So what about Canada? Do we have anything like that? Would you be the one that would do something like that?
I could be. The thing is, usually when you do that type of letter of the year, you have to do a lot of offerings, and
Mhm.
usually it is best to have a group of babalaos, not just.
Okay.
So because basically you're asking Ifa for the land that you live. What is the destiny? What is the direction? What does that land have to
Mm-hmm.
sort of
Mm-hmm.
look towards and look out for? Um, there are different also concepts or thoughts, meaning the letter of the year when it's taken on a global sort of purview or global view. It really represents the fate or what the
Mm-hmm.
people that belong to the belief system are going to encounter in that year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why sometimes in Cuba they say, the letter of the year for Cuba and the world, right? Because sometimes
Okay.
that the belief system is spread out all over the world. We have over 100 million or more now adepts in the world. Um,
Oh, good.
so and we have quite a few. Like we have the number of priests numbers in millions. So we have number of priests, both Ifa priests and Orisha priests. We're in the several million priests and
Wow.
priestesses. So it's quite a significant movement. So yeah, it would
Mm-hmm.
definitely be definitely worth a show.
No, definitely. I think that's quite good. So,
Yeah, I think this is
um,
Claire. She says I would be interested in that as well. A little history on how it started. Yeah, absolutely.
mhm. No, that would be good. No, for sure. So anyway, so that's kind of like my prediction. I think it's pretty well going to be the same with some improvements, but I think it's us coming to terms with all the changes that has happened and that needed to happen. I think globally, well, I'm thinking North America between Canada and US, I think that there's going to be a lot more opening up, um, more understanding between the two countries. And I think that the border is going to open up. That's the one thing I see. And yeah, that's about as far as I'm going to say because I don't know about the numbers dropping as far as America, but I do believe that the two countries can start, interacting again.
Yeah, well,
So,
once vaccinations start to be more
mhm,
widespread, I think we're going to be in a better
position.
position, right?
Yeah.
So, but
No, I think.
anyways, I think we should. We're 1 hour and 12. I think we should wind
Yeah,
down.
I think we'll wind it down because there's really, I think we've covered everything and
Yeah,
talked about everyone who we had as a guest. And if we'd forgotten anyone, I hope we didn't. But I've enjoyed every one of our guests. I've learned so
hundred
much from
percent.
all our guests. I
And
really
and
have.
and our
I've
audience,
loved having our guests on and having a giggle and a laugh and learn so
absolutely,
much from them, and I thank them ever so much for
absolutely,
coming, you
and our
know.
audience for their loyalty, for their good questions, for their interaction, their
Absolutely.
support,
The good
their love.
questions.
We
Yeah.
really appreciate that. One other thing I wanted to say: show idea for 2021. Okay, which is something which is a pet project of mine. One thing, this is something people don't know about me, so I'm gonna get a little
Okay.
little gossip. Um,
Okay.
so one of the things I do is I am an avid. Always been in my family. We've been avid movie buffs, and one of the pet personal
Oh,
projects I have is I religiously, no pun intended, screen different movies for their research, their merit in terms of the storyline, in terms of especially when they
Mhm.
pretend to present religious or spiritual beliefs or lore, legend, and
Mhm.
everything else. So
Mhm.
one of the things I'd like to do, at least once a month, maybe, is or once every 2 months, depending on what's out there in terms of films and or even
Mhm.
books, is to do a discussion or a review of almost like a critique of certain movies in terms of
Yes.
researching some of the things
Good
they explore. Because
idea. Yes.
one of the things with Ancestral Eyes is we had the privilege of bringing guests who are actual practitioners or
Mhm.
academics or researchers
Mhm.
in the field. But one thing which we didn't have an opportunity to do was to look at how spiritual belief systems throughout the decades, but also in current films and current projects, how
Mhm.
our spiritual belief systems or um, certain metaphysical concepts, certain cosmological concepts, certain lore, legend, mythology is expressed and described and portrayed
Mhm.
in film.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
all know that
Yeah.
one of the to our detriment and also sometimes to our favor, uh, not just Hollywood, because now one thing with Netflix, another interesting revolution in 2020, really, 2020,
Mhm.
20, and 2019, was that Netflix began a very ambitious project,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
was to co-produce and
Their
distribute
own.
films from producers and
Oh,
directors with actors from
oh,
every
yes.
part of the world. I've had the privilege of seeing amazing films from Thailand, from Singapore,
Mhm.
from Indonesia, from India,
Mhm. Mhm.
based on the supernatural,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
aspects or paranormal, from Spain. Some
Mhm.
amazing, the
Mhm.
revive some of the
Yes,
ancient
you've recommended a
folklore.
couple of movies
Yeah,
that I really would love to see.
yeah,
No, good.
and what I'd like to do, not just sort of go through a bit of without spoil, doing a spoiler alert. I don't want to like give things away,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
it might be a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Um, and but really go through it from both a belief system, religious, spiritual, but also
Mhm.
academic, to look at the foundation of some of the research
Mhm.
that informs those movies. Because a lot of
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
their notion of the supernatural, of mediumship, of spirits, is shaped by these movies. As
That's
we all
right.
know,
You're
Teresa
right.
Teresa likes a good scare, but
Yes,
but it's important to understand fact from fiction, and
absolutely.
sometimes it's very important.
Psychological horrors or
Psychological horrors as
horror
well to
stories
and
are a lot
spiritual.
more, yeah,
Exactly, and spiritual horror to really sift
more
between fact and
impressive.
fiction, and to really maybe it may even surprise some of the directors or producers that maybe deliberately or maybe totally by chance they portray certain aspects of the spirit world which are true, and they may
Yes.
not even realize it. They may think this is sensational or this is just
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
sell movie
yeah.
tickets or subscriptions to Netflix and other things, but there's some definitely
Mhm.
definitely some very good uh, topics and
Mhm.
research on that goes into this, right?
Mhm. No, and
Uh,
we could do sort of a movie critique, he said, she said type of thing. I remember I
yeah,
did that when I worked at the bank. We did this, me and my friend who I'd worked with. It was a quarterly newsletter that came out, but we actually did critique movies. We said, hey, let's do something fun, and our superiors thought it was a great idea, and it was something that we had, put forth. We went to see popular movies that were out, and I gave my side of things, and my friend, who was, male, had his own side. So it was a he said, she said, but no,
yeah,
it'd be great. I think that's a
yeah.
great idea.
Jay
Jay
Store
said,
says, yeah, go ahead.
do you think there is a spiritual meaning to this pandemic? Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely. It's funny because It's funny. Today I got a phone call from a Polish friend of mine who's spiritual as well. And he and I had, when we first met, he had told me, we started talking about spiritual things, and he said, there's something coming. And I said, you feel it too. And we both started talking about it. And I said, something's coming and it's going to bring the world to its knees. And I said, and it's going to be a natural disaster, but it's not going to be an earthquake or a tsunami or anything like that. I says, it's going to be something big. And he was the one who said, it's going to be a disease and it's going to be worldwide. And I said, yeah, you're right. And this was about a year ago or so, but I felt that something was coming. And I said, this is going to change. It's going to change people. It's going to change them to their core. And I think it's shaken up a lot of people. And, we kind of needed that spiritually. And now when what we're looking at is a fallout from all of this, like the stupidity, the ridiculousness politically, and people holding on to belief systems and thinking that, that, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't believe in miracles or the divine or anything like that, but holding on to very old ways of thinking that somehow this is a punishment, or that if they continue doing something that there's going to be this reawakening, as though, some cloud is going to come down and, Jesus is going to step forward and save us all or something. And it's like, no, we have to save ourselves. And I think this is where we take responsibility for ourselves. And this is what we've needed to do, is grow up. And I definitely see this pandemic as a spiritual thing. Not necessarily meaning that spiritual is always good. No, it's not. Sometimes, it's that dark shadow side that we have to go through. And I think as a society worldwide, it's time we did, again,
And
it's how this earth has been affected by us, our planet, the ecology, the economy, the other beings that share this earth. I've said this right from the start. We're so busy being human that we forget this earth.
The only good thing, one of the only good things about the pandemic was that the ozone layer repaired itself. In 2020, because of the drop in human activity and pollution in China, in Europe and everything else, in India, a terrible human catastrophe like a pandemic actually had immense benefits for the planet, and for the tree, for the
Gaia principle. All you had to do was shake yourself.
Exactly. And for animals, species that had been long thought extinct even showed up out of the blue, and the animals began to roam the streets and everything else. So I think the
Bigfoot's real.
I think the pandemic spiritually was, a call to action in terms of Iwa character. Iwa Pele, good character and balance, and a respect for Onile, Mother Earth. And there are sacred laws in Ifa, which basically say that when Mother Earth is really exacerbated and threatened, Mother Earth will have a way to bring about correction. And correction will not always be pleasant, and correction will oftentimes be manifest through divinities like Baba Loyer, which bring pandemic, which bring disease and everything else, in order to curtail the activities of human beings and the wanton destruction of the planet. And I think
absolutely
this pandemic also gave a little bit of a kick in the complacency to the concept of globalization, global. Thinking global from a financial perspective, but not thinking, global from the protection of the planet, and also from the support of our local communities, our families, and everything else. And to rebalance and redistribute what's important in our lives. So this made a lot of people sort of slow down, and I think that's quite important. Put things into perspective and look at creative ways, to protect the environment, to work smarter, to come up with new and interesting ideas, right? So
Innovative,
I'm interested.
creative.
Yeah, I'm interested. That's why I'm going to be very interested to see the letter of the year for 2021 from Cuba, from other places, um,
Hmm.
as we, as we sort of, at least we have, which is remarkable, within 1 year, less than one calendar year, we have a vaccines, solid vaccine candidate with the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine. And again, for my most part, I will always ask Aoife first, but it is my intention for sure for my father to be vaccinated, and
Hmm.
everybody to be vaccinated within the schedules
Hmm.
that are allowed based on supply of the
Absolutely.
vaccine and suggested groups. And I think we all have a responsibility to at least not outright dismiss it, look at your personal situation, but support it, because at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
but again, it's like we've been given a second chance.
A s-
Is my hope
reset.
that humanity doesn't take it for granted, and that we don't end up in the same situation, again, right? I
Hmm.
think it's very, very important going forward. So,
Hmm. And it's those simple things that we can do to take
yeah,
care of each other and ourselves,
exactly.
and if anything, have that compassion for other people, Yes, I get frustrated myself, I mean, my latest thing is I was put in Facebook prison because, Facebook jail, because my reaction to everything is fuck off. Sorry, I swore, but or stupid or whatever, because I'm frustrated too. I'm human and I get frustrated when I see something that is so downright, to me, so obvious, to be able to come through this so that we're all together again, wearing a face mask. My Lord, washing your hands. How can it be that more simpler than that, to be able to ensure that you're going to stay healthy and your loved ones? That's what I get frustrated when I see and hear things like that. And this paranoia of a vaccine. Well, that's your choice. But your choice is not to take other people's lives away, because your choice is a selfish one. And that's something that frustrates the hell out of me, right? And I'll always voice my opinion on that. So, and I think that we can't be complacent. That's the other thing. We cannot be complacent going forward. We always have to take responsibility for ourselves and for each other too, you know Facebook user. Maybe you could suggest a movie and give us a chance to
That's
see it
clear.
before the show. Oh yeah. So can before the show, so we can have our own opinion and comments. Absolutely.
And questions. Maybe there's certain
Yeah.
questions.
Christina, there's my Christina.
Yeah.
Krisha Pshabilski. That's my old friend Krisha. She's the one who I told you we started the Eastern European Kitchen Witches with. That's my Christina, who I've, been the Slavic witch with for many years, since my 20s. Hi, Krishu. And Carmela, we were put on timeout. Yes, we were. And so was I. And that's what we needed to do.
Yeah.
And there, Christina, hi, Abodoboye Baba and Teresa. Yes, yes. And we've all had our own challenges, each and every one of us. But I want to make sure that each of those challenges, we're respecting those challenges and coming through and making the right decisions so that we can get together, break bread, share, opinions and stories and laughs and stuff, and butt heads if we need to. So um Facebook user, interesting show. Yes, I hear what you're saying. I have also watched many of these films. I am somehow always drawn to mysteries. I have learned a thing or two in watching them. One of the films started like a scary horror movie because a ghost was visiting, but somewhere entirely fear was replaced with understanding and love. Yes, it was no longer scary. So it was never really a horror film, more like a lesson in perception and love. Lessons come when needed. We needed it, and if. Absolutely. No, it's true. And that's why, I know Jean-Jerome knows that I love a good horror flick. Hi, Krisha, knows that I love a good horror flick, but it's not just to get scared. I want to know, what is it? What is that fear? Why would I be afraid of this? I want to challenge myself to something like that. And if I'm not about blood and gore kind of horror flicks, like whatever. I really want to be challenged with a good storyline, something that has a psychological kind of heaviness to it. I want it to sit with me for a while. I think the last one that I enjoyed and Beth had watched with me was the Hereditary was the movie. But there was one that you suggested, Jean-Jerome, that I would love to watch. That's what I want to do. I want to challenge myself to face that fear, if that's what it is. I'm not one that really fears, though, to be honest with you. There's nothing that really scares me other than, if you walk up behind me and go, bleh, of course I'll jump. But as far as other stuff, I'm not that kind of a person, right? So that's why I challenge myself when it comes to those scary, fearful kind of movies. It's more like trying to learn from them,
Absolutely.
and that's a very good point, Thank you, Facebook user. Was that you, Claire? Claire Bear? But anyway, I think this is...
I think we're good.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
To everybody, thank you for 34 now. Wonderful episodes for tuning in.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you'll tune in to the party next week.
Yes.
And we wish everybody a very safe holidays.
Yes.
A time for, although a different time because of the pandemic, but doesn't mean you can't be close in spirit and feeling towards your family, your friends, your community, and so forth. So many blessings to everybody. Stay safe. And thank you again for tuning in. Till next Friday. And looking forward to 2021. Absolutely. We'll see what it brings.
Yes. And Ken, love you both. Ashe, have a great weekend. Yes, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, drive safe, keep your faces covered, wash those hands, okay?
Absolutely.
And, it's those little things, if that's what it takes, so that we all come back in 2021 and 2022 and we can look back and go, wow, wasn't that a party? Let's do it, really, that's really all it takes, so enjoyed you all and have a good one. Yes, Melvin, and we're going to see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Melvin on
Unexplained Possibilities.
That's right, Unexplained Possibilities.
We'll leave a link.
Yeah,
I think.
And then Carmela, have a good weekend. Thank you so much from Jay. Christina, thank you. Nighty night. Blessings and safety.
Hi,
Blessings
Krisha.
and good night. And Inifa Ashe, great recap and blessed night to all. Much love. Much love. Much love, everybody. Be safe. We love you.
Many blessings and much love. All right.
Good night.
Dobranoc.
Bonne nuit. Buenas noches. Hasta luego.
Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Auf Wiedersehen. Good night.